So like you said, I'm gonna go over the top 5 prospects in the Detroit Tigers system. We're gonna go over at number 1. I'm gonna start from 1, then go down to 5. At 1, I have Kevin McGonigle. He's a shortstop, second baseman. His projected MLB debut is between this season and the 2027 season, but it could go either way. He's widely viewed as one of the top prospects in the Tiger system, and possibly one of the best overall prospects in baseball because of his elite tool. His plate discipline is off the charts, and also he has emerging power too. Um, and it all started back at a Catholic school in Pennsylvania. Yes, he played at the Catholic school. Um, he hit a .457 with 11 homers as a junior, but his average went up as a senior with a .474. That earned him a Delaware County Player of the Year, Philadelphia Catholic League Player of the Year, and Pennsylvania Gatorade Player of the Year honors. Like those awards that you earned all high school. Very few prospects are earning a lot of awards in high school. But he also played USA Baseball Prospect Development Pipeline for the USA team, the UA team, national team. Um, but that was before he was selected as the 37th overall pick in the 2023 draft. And then he originally committed to Auburn, but he opted out of it and signed a $2.85 million contract. Um, but since he did turn pro, he's hit at every level. He's posting a .305 average with 19 home runs, 80 RBIs, 10 stolen bases, and an OPS of .991 in a recent full season sample. That's astronomical. And then while consistently walking more than he strikes out of the remaining in O OBP north of .400. Uh, yeah. McGonigle did break out in 2024 despite suffering a hamstring injury. And then that season he was still averaging a .309, .401, .452. He's and then he won the Florida State League MVP. That elevated him into the league prospect territory in 2025 by dominating in high A and double A and earning an MLB Future Game selection, ranking as a high number 1 and 2 overall prospect on a lot of people's lists. And he won the Arizona Fall League MVP. But going to his scouting grade, his 70, he has a 70 plus. I'm sorry, not 70 plus. His power scoring is between 55 and a 60 and rising. His fielding is 45 and 50. That's projecting him long term at second or third base with an average arm and run tool. And having the option to go either play second or third base, it gives him a lot of versatility to help out at the next level if he does get there. Um, right, and then right now in Detroit, he's projected as a top of the order or number 2 hitter who can consistently boost on pace percentage, extra innings, and anchor the lineup upon arrival with an estimated MLB debut, like I said, of 2026 or 2027. I'm leaning more towards actually like mid to late the 2026 if he can consistently improve on what he's playing right now. Um, but going to number 2, I got Max Clark. He's the center field. He's projected 2027. Um, he is one of the crown jewels in the whole entire Detroit Tigers organization. In a future cornerstone outfielder, he is best known for his 5-tool upside. His elite athleticism, his on-base percentage skills, is right through the roots. He started with USA Baseball at a U18 level. Then he entered the 2023 draft as a top 3 talent, leading the Tigers to select him at the number 3 overall pick. Detroit viewed Clark as a franchise-type player, valuing his plus defense in center field, his high IQ, strong plate discipline, and on-tap power potential. those are great things to have in a prospect. But since he turned pro, Clark has steadily climbed the system, showing maturity at a very young age. Um, but there, but he reached the double A as a teenager. He's continuing the trend upwards, posting a .71 average, 14 home runs, 67 RBIs, 19 stolen bases, OPS of .835. It is a little bit down from high school and a little bit down from college, but that's still really, really good. Like despite him moving up, and then his tool grade right now is at a 55. That's including power. His run tools is a clear 70. That's gonna be awfully dangerous because he's gonna be able to read. He's going to be able to read the offense. He's going to be able to steal bases at a very high level. That's something that people do need to watch on that. Right now he's projected as a number 2 hitter. Right now his projected is 2027, but I'm gonna say this: I think he could be called this season. I can see that he has the tools to make it up there.
Definitely
So,
a chance,
yeah.
because especially considering Detroit's outfield. We talked about this in the Tarek Skubal trade episode, potential destinations for him. I had Tarek Skubal going to Boston and Nate Eaton going back to Detroit as part of that package as a fourth outfielder. Detroit is thin in the outfield. I could definitely see a world in which Max Clark does get a debut in June or July. I could see that, especially if he's torching up AAA Toledo.
And the other thing too, like
Yeah,
Max has a lot of power, but the speed is something I think hasn't been brought up a whole lot with him in the past. 19 stolen bases in the stint with Double A Erie, but this is a guy who was grading almost as high as any other tool with his speed too. I don't want to throw around 5-tool player with every top prospect we see, but with Max Clark, if he can just lay off the off speed and have good plate discipline, I think he actually fills out all those categories. He's got a flashy arm. Yeah. He can hit the ball really, really far. He's extremely fast. 30-30 is not out of the realm of possibility. This guy ends up being what we expect him to be.
Yeah, and then like you said, just going back, like his a lot of people are not looking at how fast he can run. Like I think a lot of teams not looking at what he's already done. He's just gonna blow past through. I think a lot of teams are going to be surprised how fast he is. But I'm gonna try to continue with the top list because I feel like I've been going too long or whatever. But I'll try to keep it. I'll try to keep this other 3 players concise as I possibly can. We're going to number 3. We're going to Bryce Rainer. Believe I'm saying that correctly. He's a shortstop. Right now he's projected to be 2028 or later. He's one of the highest upside position players right now in the system, and the key long-term development piece. After he was selected in the 2024 MLB draft, he's a highly touted amateur bat. Rainer quickly stood out for his loud exit velocities, natural strength, and gap power. He's projecting as a future impact infielder once he's fully developed, which it will take time, but I think he can get there. He did open up his pro career with single A, posting a .288 average, 5 home runs, 22 RBIs, 9 stolen bases, OPS .831. It is not that bad. But I will say this: his momentum did slow down a little bit just this past season. He did undergo shoulder surgery, which did cost him much of the season, but endeavors remain bullish on his long-term ceiling due to his bat speed, raw power, athletic build. Despite that he did miss time, he's still viewed as a potential middle-of-the-order threat once healthy and fully developed, which I think he will eventually. He will get there. but from a scouting perspective, his tools point to his point tools are pointed to kind of a high risk, high reward profile, just because with his injuries or whatever. His tool grade is at a 50 right now. With the projection for improvement as he gains reps and refines his pitching recognition. His power grade is at a 60, but that's driven by elite exit velocities and the ability to drive the ball, I cannot talk today. What's going on with me? Velocity and the ability to drive the ball down both gaps with 20 home run potential, and I think he can get there. But defensively, his grade is at a 52-55, with the athleticism to remain at shortstop early, but there's a likely long-term fit at third base. And that's just kind of depending on his body development and just kind of what he turns out if he does get to the MLB level. His arm grade is at a 60, easily strong enough for the left side of the midfield, while his run tool grade is at 55, that's making him capable. He's making him a capable base runner and an added offensive threat. Right now, his estimated debut is 2028. I'm going to have to agree with that. I think he still needs to recover from his injury and still kind of develop a few parts of his game if he does want to make there. But I could definitely see that piece of it. And then going to number 4, there's a couple of these names that, like, before the podcast, wherever, I was trying to get these names down all day, so so I'll try to pronounce these as best as I can. I believe I'm pronouncing this right. Josue Briceño. I believe I'm saying that right, but you guys can correct me on that.
Yeah, it's Briceño. Briceño. Josue Briceño.
Briceño.
Yep.
Briceño. Yeah, I'll say it's with those names where the enunciation is just a little bit hard for me to, try to enunciate or whatever. But he plays center and he plays first base. Right now, he's projected late 2026 or 2027. But he's emerged as one of the Tigers' most intriguing offensive prospects. He's gained significant momentum after a breakout season in the Arizona Fall League, where he flashed legitimate big power against the top competition. He's a switch hitting catcher by development. He steadily improved his offensive power upon the minors and produced at a high level with the AA Erie. He's posted a 2.66 average, 20 home runs, 76 RBIs, 1 stolen base, which I don't want to include 1 stolen base, but probably doesn't matter. And then .883 OPS. There's definitely a little bit of room there, but like the 20 home runs is a little intriguing. But his combination of strength, improving approach, his ability to drive the ball down the field has elevated him from defense depths into a legitimate MLB option. But while his ultimate defensive home may not be behind the plate, his bat has become loud enough that it could accelerate his timeline if production continues, especially if Detroit has a need for power at a catcher, first base, or DH. So when I'm talking about he could be a late 2026 or 2027, I think he could actually be mid 2026. Just based on just power alone, like it could really help the Tigers in that side. And going with power, his grade is at a 60. That's giving that he has the ability. He already has the ability to like hit the ball with leverage, carry it to the pole side. And then he has the ability that he could potentially hit 25-30 home runs a season in the MLB. Like, I don't see why not. But right now he's projected in the middle of the order of power, whose value is tied to the offensive production. But if he's going to hit like 25 plus 30 home runs, why not have him hit on number 3 or number 4 spot? Like, why not have him be placed in that order? And then, like I said before, His most likely window is 2027. Though a lot of people are saying it's late 2026. I'm saying it's middle 2026. Like maybe give him like a couple months in the minors, just develop a little bit of his game and then call him up. I can see that. And then at number 5, and then I could I'm gonna probably butcher his name again because I was trying to I was trying to like say it in my head like 20 times, like, okay, get this name right, I can do it. Thayron Liranzo, I believe that is the right enunciation for this. And then
last name would be Liranzo.
Liranzo. Thank you. Yeah. Again, a lot like Jose. He is also a center and first base. But his projection is 2026, 2027. He remains one of the Detroit Tigers' best catching prospects. He is showing growing pains at AA level. While the jump in competition exposed areas of his swing that still needs refinement, I think he could get there. He has he's signed originally as a high upside international prospect. He's been long valued for his raw power, his strong discipline at the plate, his physical tools behind the plate. At a Double Erie, the average is not the greatest. .206, 11 home runs, 45 RBIs, and then the OPS of a 659. So the numbers do reflect inconsistency like with his play, but also underlined his power potential, his willingness to take walks. And then while he did have an offensive production dipped against more advanced pitching as he continues to go up, but his endeavors do continue to see a catcher with type strength and approach that it can adjust over time. And yeah, and then from a scouting perspective, there's a clear blend of upside and risk with him too. His hit tool is not great. It's a 45. But he has shown sign of power, so I do believe that he could work on just stronger at the plate. He could potentially work on that. But what's probably his greatest part of the game is his arm. His great arm is the 60, and that's above average comparing to all of the other catching prospects. Is right up there. So in that position he could potentially fit right in. Like I said, his MLB debut is between 2026 2027. But I think 2027 remains likely as when he can potentially go up to that full time. And then let's go right into the strengths and also weaknesses of the Tiger system. I won't go into too much, but I'll kind of just give a brief summary just on strength alone. Like I said earlier, they have a strong high healing hitters in Kevin McGonigle, Max Clark. They're true impact hitters that could help him at the MLB level with Jose, and then also Sean Anderson, which I didn't mention on the top 5, but it could provide more depth and also more power and on base skills with that too. And then analysts consistently knows that the Tigers position players prospect combine the fans' contact skills, play discipline, power potential, giving the organization a top tier offensive profile. But the versatility, that's also where they're strong at too. Like I said, McGonigle can play multiple positions in the infield. Clark can really anchor to center field. Multiple catchers and versatile infielders increase the depth, providing assurance against injuries, and that's really going to help them really in the long run. that versatility allows the Tigers to move pieces around at the MLB level and also in the minors as well. That's going to maximize the talent development. And then, but where I think they could be a little bit more stronger at, which I'm gonna go into the weaknesses of them, which I'll touch all these briefly too. Is
Ooh, and then Max,
weaknesses
actually,
on the
I think you've got a really good, I'm just looking at our outline here, the quick summary at the end. I think that's going to encapsulate it. Just like if you could mention the top part of the weaknesses, and then we can kind of toss it around and dive into what the Tigers got to work on a little bit.
So just a quick summary that I have, written down like underneath the weaknesses or whatever that you're talking about. Their system is elite at the top, especially on the offensive side with the bats, versatility, play discipline. However, it does carry the risk in depth development, that depth beyond the top prospects, health development, uncertainties, standard pitching depth, protections at the lower levels that could affect sustained MLB successes if injuries or setbacks occur. Like, that's something that they should obviously touch on. And then kind of speaking about injuries too, which actually, Corey, I'm glad you said that, because one of the weaknesses that I have on here is one of the weaknesses is health and development risk. Like Bryce Rainer, he had, like I said, he had that shoulder injury. He had faced setbacks to it, but those risks are common with highly touchy-on players. But the underscore, the fragility of the system is on his top tier talent like him. So that's kind of like one of the main points on their weaknesses. But I just want to touch on one more thing with the weaknesses before we go on to the next thing. It's their pitching depth. That's kind of where they're kind of weak at. The pitching depth is thinner than the position player side. And etc. Miller, Ham, Sears, those players. And then unlike the offensive prospects, the farm system, they lack a deep tool of future. MLB stars projected to anchor on a rotation long term. And then that's something they need to figure out. And the teams with balanced systems usually have multiple pitchers near MLB ready, and Detroit currently has less players right now that are not ready to make that jump yet, despite having some upside arms. So that's kind of something that the organization kind of needs to take a closer look at it.
Yeah, very well done, Max. I think they've got the top end names, right? I think Kevin McGonigle and Connor Griffin might be competing for a batting title in a couple of years. There's some really strong tools with Max Clark having the speed. And to your point with the weakness, Tarik Skubal doesn't work out, which if you're saying he's worth $19 million in arbitration, it's probably not going to work out. I don't know if he's going to go to the Mets or the Dodgers or somewhere else. But the other shoe is going to drop in that you need other individuals who are going to join Casey Mize up there in that starting rotation. I don't know if they have a lot of internal farm talent that's really going to do that right now. And with the injuries, I hope anybody having elbow soreness follows exactly what they did with Casey Mize.
Yeah.
He throws harder than he did before he had Tommy John surgery because his mechanics are better now. It's all lower body. It's all torque. Not a whole lot of flare-ups on the shoulder or the elbow in general. So to that I say, they've got it figured out, even if you have guys who are a little more fragile. But use Casey Mize. All 30 teams. Use Casey Mize and what they did with him as a case study. It might be premature. He's not far out from the surgery, but he's throwing harder. He looks less stressed, and he had a really, really strong season when he was starting to enter bust territory after being the number 1 overall pick a few years ago.